What's good, everybody? It's your brother New Breed coming through with another live stream. Peace and blessings to the chat. I'm back, revitalized, rejuvenated, revived, here to tell you no lies. What's going on? Joe Bud's in the house. Diana Penner's in the building. Nelly, what's going on? True Zay. Danny C's in the house. Who's that girl? I see you. Yes, pound that like button on your way in. Pound that like button on your way in. So a lot has transpired over the last week. It seems to be one event after the other. We got the Donald Trump scripted event that took place, the alleged botched assassination attempt. Fast forward, you got a global internet outage. And the irony of it is they're calling it a global strike. And this happens on the same day of our Jamboree Jubilee, which was the 19th of this month. You know, New Breed Global Truth throws an event, and all of a sudden, on the same day of the event, a global strike happens. Just very interesting timing with all that. Well, nonetheless, God's chosen people were still able to come together. You know, some people were unable to make it because of travel issues, because of this internet outage. Something happened with Microsoft. We'll get more into the details of what happened or allegedly happened when we look at this news clip here. But nonetheless, everybody has safe travels. Everybody was able to just enjoy themselves. And although there was an internet outage, we didn't need internet because we were face to face with each other. You know, that's the interesting part of it all. We were together and we had everything we needed. Although the entire world was scrambling in a panic, we was out there at UP Farms eating good, you know, convening with family. It was iron sharpening iron. There was testimony going on. There was deliverance, healing going on. There was just a positive vibe. It was just a beautiful time with the people out there. I mean, just absolutely refreshing and reviving for me personally. And while I was out there, I want to shout out a couple of brothers and sisters that pulled up who had merch that they wanted to display. So I just unpackaged Heartfelt Threads, and y'all can find this store at Instagram at Heartfelt Threads, as well as https heartfeltthreads.store. Right? See that there? You know, they pulled up these young men. You know, they came from, I believe, I want to say it was the streets of Detroit. And there was a lot of cats coming from Detroit and Philadelphia. If I'm wrong, you brothers in the chat can correct me. But they, you know, this merch is based on what they've been through. And, you know, unfortunately, one of the brothers had a loss of a loved one, a person very close to him, and it inspired him to do this clothing line. So I just want to shout them out because they pulled up in person and they brought me a shirt. Actually, it's more like a windbreaker type of jacket. I'm unwrapping it right now as we speak. So there you go. We got the heartfelt threads. It got the graffiti. You know what I'm saying? This is real hip hop. This feels also pretty high quality. You know what I'm saying? Heartfelt threads. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to them. If y'all feeling this look here, you already know. Pull up and support the work. All right. Also, I want to thank Lon Diamond because she pulled up. And she pulled up with a book here. And some of you all are aware of this book because you can Google this right here. And this is Lon Diamond's book. It's called New World Old Testament. When we were in Jamaica, she actually interviewed me. So the book is called New World Old Testament, an interview with New Breed Global Truth. And it was a very detailed interview where you're going to get some good insight about my personal life, what got me to where I'm at now, and so forth. And, what made me the man I am. And she did this in Jamaica, I believe like it was a year and a half ago. And Miss Lon Diamond, she has a lot of work. All right. She has a lot of work here. She's been mentioned in papers, as you can see, in book ends, bibliophiles. There she goes. So, support the work. Support the work. She has great literature, and you can pull up on the internet. All you got to do is Google the book and find the links. It's New World Old Testament. So, what a blessing. And look, let me say this. There were so many people pulling up, and although we didn't have everybody show up because of travel issues, everybody that I dapped up, everybody that I hugged, everybody that I engaged with, it just felt like family, y'all. It legit felt like family. It felt like I didn't have to look over my back. I didn't feel as fatigued. I didn't feel as on guard. I didn't feel no anxiety. It just was familiarity. It felt like a huge family barbecue. Everybody was just getting along. Everybody was respectful of each other's property. And it was just a blessed occasion, And the moment I got home, I'm going to share this with y'all before we get into the lesson. What we're going to talk about is profound. So stick around. I know I'm speaking about where I've been and what I've experienced in the last week or so, but we're going to get into the content here, right? When I got back home, it was a reminder that, in these cities, we're often targeted because we're chosen ones, because we can see, because we know what's going on in the world. And so the moment I got back, I was reminded of that. I was reminded that it ain't no love in the world. It ain't no love in the world. You have to be set apart. There's no doubt about it. The moment I got back, one of the neighbors, he let his dog just defecate all over the place near my property, and things like that. The lack of respect. See, that would have never happened where I just came from, because people respect each other. They respect each other's property. They respect each other's belongings. They don't just they wouldn't let their animals just go do that on somebody else's yard, right? So that happened. And then, I had some work that was supposed to be done. We had a covenant, had an agreement, right, with the office up here. They didn't do the work. Didn't do the work at all. So I come back thinking some work was going to be done that wasn't even done. They didn't notify me, none of that. So in the world, their word doesn't mean nothing. What I gather from that is, in the world, their word doesn't mean nothing. And check this out. So the neighbor does this. Now that's another story for another day. But as far as the neighbor goes, I knock on the door very respectfully. He had one of those ring lights. I hit the ring light. It rings a bell. He's like, yo, what's going on? What you need? I'm like, could I come chop it? Can you come down? Let me chop it up with you for a moment. So this man sends his woman to the front door. She got a baby at hand and everything. And soon as she opens the door, I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, can I speak to the man of the house? Because if the man of the house is home, and this is an issue that I have to speak to him about, why are you answering the door? So she goes, well, what is it? What did you need? I was like, I would prefer to speak to the man of the house face to face, so I can let this man know respectfully that he need to watch what his dog is doing. And she's like, yo, just tell me what it is. So I'm telling her what it is. Yeah, somebody said it's soft guy era. So I'm telling her, listen, I don't have any animals. I don't have a dog or a cat or anything like that. And you know, if I got to walk out my door and see fecal matter out here, you know what I'm saying? I use different words, but you know, we on YouTube. You know, I shouldn't have to deal with that when there's plenty of spaces, there's plenty of areas here in this community where they have disposaries for animal, you know, projectiles or whatever the hell you want to call them. There's plenty of spaces. And so I'm telling the lady, and she goes, well, if my dog did that, you know, okay, I got you. If my dog did that, I got you. Well, ma'am, if you don't know if your dog did it, then your dog did it. Because you should be watching your dog. You shouldn't be letting your dog just run free like that and defecate on other people's property. See, that's the issue. The other people I see in this neighborhood, they have leashes on their dogs and they're watching where their dogs is going. And so, you know, anyway, we living in a time where men don't want to be men. There's no honor, there's no respect, there's no dignity. And it's just a shame. We're living in a time, and I had to be reminded that I'm not around real family oriented people. Soon as I got home, I was reminded of that. Because what man is going to send his woman to the front door when a man is just trying to speak to you? Not being disrespectful, because that young man don't even understand that, you know, he might not know that I'm a lot older than him. And I'm not here to start nothing, but I have to tell you that there has to be boundaries and respect. But, you know, anyway, I don't want to be that guy that just to rant on about that. But the difference between what I experienced at UP Farms and then seeing that, I know that we have to have our own communities. We have to have our own communities, y'all, because these environments, they don't care about us. We had everything we need out there, and it was respect. Respect is very important, right? So while there was a internet outage worldwide, they called it a global strike. And check this out. They also changed it to a crowd strike. They called it a crowd strike. Very interesting. And I want to do an honorable mention to a couple brothers before we get into this. I want to shout out King Connect. I want to shout out Born Row. And I want to shout out Brainwaves, as well as, you know, I already know Elder Uwitazai. I want to shout those brothers up. King Connect came out. He did a raw performance out there, man. That brother, he got next. When it comes to the music, he got next. You understand? Brainwaves was out there. He was hustling, working. I'm talking about the brother was setting up cameras, setting up mics. He was doing his 1-2 thing, getting footage. And the brother made content while he was out there. We did a collab video, as well as he stayed to the end helping with cleanup. So I want to shout out Brainwaves for that. And Born Row came in, and, you know, this brother was very helpful as well. Got to meet his people and his family. And, you know, he's also a content creator. So, and hey, I just want to shout those brothers out, because not a lot of people who do content as is going to show up like that. But moving forward, there will be a lot of creators who want to be involved. But I want to just shout those brothers out, as well as everybody else that I ran into. I want to shout out. I want to shout Uwitazai's parents. They were very helpful, and you know, my wife, as well as Uwitazai and his wife. We were just doing a lot of the building up. Getting the whole project, the whole event established. So yes, now with that being said, we got to talk about this, because, and I'm not trying to sound conceited or what you would call self-absorbed at all, but I find it very ironic that in a New Breed Global Truth event, there's a global strike, internet goes down. Then they call it a crowd strike, which affected pretty much over half of the people who were supposed to show up. A crowd strike is what they call it. See, ladies and gentlemen, we need to understand as chosen ones of the Most High that they're watching us a lot more than we understand, that we even comprehend. See, we out here glitching the damn matrix and they don't know what to do with it. But they can't stop us from rising up. The system has to drop. The system has to fall. And we're going to get into some scriptures. Because one thing about it, the Most High is doing something totally different. It says in Isaiah 43:18, it says, remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and in rivers and in deserts. See, the Lord said he's going to do a new thing where he's going to make a way for us to survive, maintain, and thrive in the wilderness. So what he's doing is something new, and that's where we were at UP Farms. We were at a place that was just enough to be inhabitable, but at the same time, we had so much when it comes to the people. It was blessed. The Bible is doing something different, right? So while the internet was shutting down, while the whole entire world is shutting down, we rising up. I want to go ahead and play this clip so we can kind of get a little bit of their reasoning behind why they claim that the internet went down, right? Let's get to it.
But we begin with that massive Microsoft technology outage. Cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike says it identified a critical problem in its software and is working to fix the issue. Around the world, computer users were greeted with an error screen that some people have referred to as the Windows blue screen of death. The outage affected government entities and news organizations, as well as almost every industry across the globe, including banks, airports, healthcare providers, and retailers.
Now, if you're thinking that that's the only time this is going to happen, you're sadly mistaken, brothers and sisters. See, the Most High God has been talking, but I wonder who has been really listening. See, this is the exact reason why we set up our camping excursion. Banks, airports, healthcare, retailers, every major outlet was affected. Why? Because there's a global reset taking place. And it's time for us to move accordingly. Listen, Jeremiah 51:6 says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her recompense. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be, may be healed. We would have healed Babylon. See, if it was going to be healed, if Babylon was going to come back, if it was going to be revived, you wouldn't see event after event after event that are catastrophic. And you see this whole thing plummeting, but you don't see it getting back up. If it was going to be revived, the Most High would have revived it already, right? That's what you got to understand. So he's given us direction. He's telling you to come out of the midst of her, my people. It's time for you, brothers and sisters, to put away your sins. It's time for you to overcome so you can think clearly. It's time to deal with whatever type of vice, whatever type of demonic stronghold you have. It's time to fight. The time is now. Because if you're fighting, if you're becoming better, if you're actually repenting to sin no more, he's going to put you around the right people to make sure as Babylon falls, he does a new thing for his people. Right? Let's continue.
According to FlightAware.com, an online flight tracking website, more than 27,000 flights were delayed globally.
Isn't that something? On the day of our event, this happened. And we had people coming from all over the world. all over the states as well. People were traveling from near and far because they can see what's going on. So they pull what you call a crowd strike. See, we at war, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when you talk about targeted individuals, when you talk about gang stalking, when you talk about these things, people think it's fake. No, it's very real. It's very real. And it may not always be on a governmental level, but this is spiritual, brothers and sisters. This is very spiritual, where you might not understand why the people in your environment treat you in such a manner, why they murmur, why they do little spiteful things to try to frustrate you, to get you to lose your cool, why they seem to do the noise campaigns and the disturbances around you. They know you don't fit into this demonic system. They can see the light of Christ on you. You don't belong in the midst of these people, but they want to keep you around because they're obsessed with your presence. They're obsessed with your aura. They want to destroy who you are so they can extinguish it and take it. So they'll shut down the world before you can get out of it. So you got to know the Most High is talking, telling you, you got to get ready to move accordingly. And I'm going to tell you, the scriptures tell us straight up like this, because judgment is coming to this place, right? The Bible tells us, it says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. And this is in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51. It says, we would have healed Babylon. And then it goes on to say, the Lord have brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the works of the Lord our God. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord have raised up the spirit of the kings. Come on now. There's a spirit in all the Most High's men that's rising up, and we know that something has to be done. Yep, somebody said everything is planned. That's a fact. Let's continue.
Now, for more on all this, I want to bring in Justin Campos. He's a professor and cybersecurity expert at NYU's Tandon School of Engineering. So, Justin, immediately people began to suspect a cyber attack when things weren't working, but that's not the case here. What exactly caused this massive outage?
Well, really, this is a failure for them to do adequate quality assurance. What they did is they took an update that they had not tested, they had not correctly vetted, and they just sent it out to millions and millions of users, causing massive outages.
See, they want to make you all believe that it's some type of freak accident. No, the matrix is falling because God's chosen people are coming together. And when I say God's chosen people, I'm talking about everybody who has the seal of God on them. We're not dealing with nationality right now. Of course, yes, God, the Most High, has the biblical Israelites, our people from the diaspora. But that doesn't mean that those are the only people sealed. Like, there were people from all walks of life coming together while this was happening. And so, they're going to tell you, they're going to act like it's some type of freak accident. It's problem, reaction, solution. They're always going to be doing these type of events to gain more control over the people. The Bible tells us in Matthew 24:21, for then shall be great tribulation. Such was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. Meaning, for those who are expecting things to get better, the Lord said this is going to get worse than it ever has been, and it will ever be. So right now, you're seeing internet outages. You're seeing banks being affected. All the things that I've been warning the people about, crying aloud, sparing not. Meanwhile, they're testing it. They're seeing how quick would the world go into melee if they were to shut down the grid altogether. How quick would things escalate? Could we target certain events? Could we target certain gatherings from certain people, from certain people that we have a watchful eye on? See, I know that I'm being watched, but I'm not afraid. You know why? The Most High has a seal on my life, and he has one on yours as well. And there's spiritual laws that they cannot cross. 2 Esdras 15:19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbors, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. That's where it's going. That's how it's going to escalate. And they're going to keep doing event after event after event. Now we're hearing that Joe Biden stepped down, from the election. And I'm going to talk about that because I'm going to tell you what to expect. The Simpsons already predicted this, right? The Simpsons showed Kamala Harris as president. I'm not saying she'll be elected, but what I am saying is for those out there just thinking that Trump has a shoe in the race, thinking that he's going to be a surefire winner. We thought that, the last 4 years ago. For those saying nobody's voting for Kamala Harris, nobody voted for Joe Biden, but his ass was still in that office, though, wasn't he? So that's something to consider. But we'll talk more about that because I know the agenda behind it. If she is elected, I know what to expect. I can expect the United States to turn into the Hunger Games. Y'all remember when the inauguration took place? And Lady Gaga came out and put a Hunger Games pennant on Kamala Harris. That was symbolic. But we'll get into it. We will get into it. Let's go.
And even worse than this, the way in which they did their update was for a very sensitive part of the system. So it didn't just cause a minor software glitch on computers that were otherwise up and running, but it actually caused them to fail to boot. And this is such a serious thing because it's so difficult for many users to go and recover from.
And this is a cybersecurity firm that's entire purpose is to make sure that there aren't these types of critical failures. I just have to ask if it's normal to roll out an update like this everywhere at once. Obviously, it should have been tested, but is that kind of a miscalculation on their part?
It was exactly what it is, a crowd strike. And don't let them make you believe otherwise. Matter of fact, I want to share another source with y'all. Very interesting. CrowdStrike updates that cause global outage likely skip checks, experts say. Global banks, airlines, hospitals, and government offices were disrupted. CrowdStrike released information to fix affected system, but experts said that them back online would take a time as required manual weeding and the flawed code. What it looks like is potentially the vetting and sandboxing to do when they look at code. Maybe somehow this file was not included. Now, does anybody understand that? Absolutely not. Which proves if they just want to shut the world down, they're going to be able to do it. And the global community, meaning the people of the world, they're not going to say nothing. These people can do whatever the hell they want and just talk you in circles. And instead of the people, contending, being outraged, demanding answers, they're just going to give you run around. They could do what they want to do. Nobody knows what they're talking about. Even these tech savvy people, there's only a select few people who really know what took place. Yeah, CrowdStrike, that's a weird term. It's like you're trying to stop people from gathering. Literally. We got crowd and strike, like they're trying to strike a crowd. This cut off half of our people that was supposed to show up. They had travel issues. Something that we could not control. But they just showed us that it's real. We know it's real. We know the targeting is real. We're not walking in fear. We walking in the Holy Spirit. We walking in truth. We walking in love. Somebody said they're looking to implement internment camps. It's speculated that Joe passed and Harris already is in for president. Well, Kamala Harris is running around now saying that she expects to win this election. And we're going to talk more about that as soon as we're done with this CrowdStrike business, which, we're pretty much there. We're going to go ahead and transition over to what's going on with this presidential thing, right? That's happening. Very interesting times we're in.
Our nation's history has, and apparently, Rachel, stay with me here. Kamala Harris addressing the Trump assassination attempt in public for the very first time since the Pennsylvania rally. Jay O'Brien, what do you know?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we've been talking to folks here just to set the stage. We're outside the RNC venue, and we've been chatting with attendees here, and many of them say they were deeply moved by those events on Saturday. They believe, one woman told me that she believes, having watched him from afar, that she thinks it changed former President Trump. But as you noted, we are also hearing from Vice President Kamala Harris for the first time her reaction to that political violence we saw play out on Saturday. I want to play you a little bit of what she said, Kira. Here.
This shows that they're all together in all this. The left and the right are all together, and they've always been unified. And the reason I say that, because everybody who has the eyes to see and the ears to hear know that that event was fake. And shout out to the brothers and sisters, or the brothers rather, who did that clip with the ketchup when the Secret Service agents corralled them and allegedly put ketchup on Trump's ear and lifted them back up. See, our people not dumb. We sitting there laughing at it. We know ain't no damn way possible an AR-15 bullet can hit your ear and there's no debris, there's no smoke, there's nothing, there's no hair follicles, the hat not moving. We all know that was nonsense. We all know it was fake, it was staged. Anybody who can see. If you believe it was real, then more than likely the prince of the airwaves got a hold on you. And more than likely, you walking around with the sharp thing. More than likely, you ain't too much on the side of being a independent thinker. You more than likely have a herd mentality, and the psychological warfare and ideological subversion has officially worked on your life. If you think that was real, right? Respectfully. Check yourself, do your research on proxies, staged events, crisis actors. Just look it all up. You had all that involved. It was all there, right? Now, let's see what Kamala Harris has to say. Let's get to it.
Here's the vice president.
But in the aftermath of this weekend's shooting, one of the questions we now confront is about the way we should engage with one another in this campaign. On Sunday evening, our President Joe Biden issued a call for unity. And there must be unity around the idea.
Now, I want you to hear what she said. They want to say peace and unity, right? 1 Thessalonians 5:3 says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So as soon as you hear your government officials start talking peace and unity and coming together, just know things are going to take a downward spiral from here. See, they're playing us. They don't want peace and unity. The damages have been done already. They want to see this land divided. Deshaun says their video footage of the backside where Trump was and where the SSA was on that shooting. Right. So, yeah, don't fall for the charades and smoke and mirrors, y'all. Don't fall for it. It's all a lie.
That while our nation's history has been scarred by political violence, violence is never acceptable.
And Kira,
now we're going to go into, her announcement to run as president and what she intends on doing, right? Let me see if I can pull that footage up. Meantime, in between time, brothers and sisters, if the spirit is moving you, feel free to share scripture in the chat, as well as like the video, share the video so more people can see the truth, right? Let's see, Kamala Harris. Let's get to it. Yeah, there's a lot of news on this right now. Breaking news. Here we go. All right.
I so appreciate you, Basil. I so appreciate you for all the conversations we've had in the last couple of weeks. I have some of Vice President Kamala Harris today doing what you just described. Let me play that.
Sure.
In recent days, they've been trying to portray themselves as the party of unity. But here's the thing. If you claim to stand for unity, you need to do more than just use the word.
Right. And that's what I want people to understand. Barbie doll said it. She put in prison over 2,000 black men for marijuana possession in California. Right. People don't understand her background as a prosecutor. Kamala Harris has, she put a lot of brothers in jail, a lot. But a lot of people don't understand that she uses her blackness when it's suitable for her. And the other time she's Japanese. She don't give a damn about her people. Let's just make no mistake about that. Let's call it like it is. Kamala Werewolf Harris. I hate to get the name calling, but I gave her that name a while ago, right? If you do your research on Kamala Harris, she's literally laid down with a lot of guys to get what she got. And that's just the truth. You just do your research on that. But I ain't gonna get into that. We'll just say allegedly, right? We'll put allegedly out there. But this is not a good look for the country. At this point, I'm considering ready to get on up out of here if she's elected. Like, I'm talking about leave the country, because I'm gonna tell you why before I play the video. Kamala Harris hasn't even handled immigration properly. The vice president is supposed to be in charge of the border, right? Two things: foreign relations and the border. Since she has been our vice president, here's just the facts here. And I hate to get into politics because all of them are just horrible people, in my opinion. She's allowed all these migrants to overcrowd New York. Listen, The Simpsons showed you what it is. When Kamala got elected, New York City got destroyed. The Simpsons show. Matter of fact, let me see if I could pull this up on The Simpsons. Y'all think it's a game, but they're telling you what's going to happen, right? If she gets elected. They also had a Simpsons show with Donald Trump in a casket. So it is what it is. The Simpsons show has become remarkably eerie. Let's see. And I'm just going to play the audio of it. I'm going to play the audio because I don't want to get hit with copyright. The Simpsons don't be playing that. Kamala Simpsons. Hold up. And New York was destroyed. Here's a short. Maybe I can play it from a distance. Hold on. They don't even want to. Okay.
Excellent question. Yes, I am proud to be America's first straight female president. Helen? Wasn't I wearing a hat? Yes, you were. Now, in conclusion, my administration will focus on the 3 R's. Reading, writing, and refilling the ocean. Thank you very much. As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten? We're broke.
Hold on, that's the wrong clip right there. It's this one.
Go to motionready.com to add this new video and that and that.
Yeah, I'm gonna slow down the audio here. No, this is somebody reacting to it. Let me see. Here we go.
And down. Not.
Well, so Lisa Simpson is playing a role as Kamala Harris. But anyway, look, we can get into all the coded messages all we want. But the bottom line is, it is what it is. Y'all know how they move. But let's see what Kamala has to say. And I'm going to add more to this, right? I don't want to get hit with copyright anyway. Let's go.
You cannot claim you stand for unity if you are pushing an agenda that deprives whole groups of Americans of basic freedoms, opportunity, and dignity.
You know, Basil, there's this thing that happens, I think, in reaction to Donald Trump, and it's amazing how much he still shapes the entire come for everyone that isn't under his tent.
Hold on. Let's stop that screen here. So, you know, Kamala's running, but I'm not getting the right footage of what she's talking about. It looks like they're all live right now. All the news broadcasts are live regarding Kamala Harris running, but I'm going to see if I can find one that's not live. I just want a video clip here. And it's interesting because 3 days ago, she visited Fayetteville. I mean, yo, this is insane. While we were in North Carolina, Kamala Harris was in North Carolina. Yo, you're with Desire, a congregation of the mighty. You won't believe this, bro. You won't believe it. Just like when we was in Africa dealing with dignitaries, Kamala Harris was in Africa. She was in Fayetteville, bro. Look, bro, you can't make this up. Fam, look, I'm about to share my screen with you. Look, hold on. Kamala Harris speaks at NC 3 days ago. 3 days ago. I mean, it's we in the Matrix. I'm convinced. But, you know, these are the things that I'm looking at. Like, I don't believe in coincidences, y'all. I don't believe in coincidences. Now, I don't move in the spirit of fear, but what I'm saying to you all is, when you chosen by the Most High, they see it and they're watching. Even if you don't think they're watching, they're watching. They're watching. Because they know that the children of Israel are breaking free, and the Gentiles that sojourn with us, they understand that it's prophecy that we will be delivered from captivity and have great substance. They know. And all they can do is keep a watchful eye. We are in a war. It's a war. It's a war. But let me see if I can find that video I'm looking for, because I'm hearing everybody talk about her running for president and Joe Biden dropping out. Matter of fact, let's try this. Let's just put in Joe Biden dropping out, which he should. The man is geriatric. Let's just cover that news. Let's get to it.
I'm Rachel Scott at ABC headquarters here in New York. We are coming on the air at this hour with breaking news. President Biden has just announced that he is ending his re-election bid. Just moments ago, the president tweeted out, "It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. While it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. There are still so many questions yet to be decided and so little time before those questions need to be figured out. So I want to go right away to our chief Washington correspondent, John Carl. John, we are just 100 days out from the November election. Pressure was building on the president to step aside. Now he is announcing that he has.
Rachel, it's an extraordinary moment in American history. This is the first time we have seen a sitting president bow out.
Now, for all the people who saying that Donald Trump is definitely going to win this election, let me just say this, right? Let me point something out for y'all, right? And what I want to point out here is that we've seen this before. We've been down this rodeo. Who really voted for Who really voted for Joe Biden in the first place? Who voted for Joe Biden? The man he barely even ran last election. The man was nowhere to be found. It ain't like he had charisma with the public. I mean, come on now. And then we had all these issues with the voting and all of that. So they can do what they want to do. Secondly, Kamala didn't deal with immigration properly. So you're going to see an insurgence. You're going to see a lot of, well, I should use the word surge. You're going to see a surge of more migrants. And it's just going to be crowded. She's going to let any and everybody over. And also, I don't want y'all to underestimate the power of the city girls. The city girls will put her in there. They like the chaos. I'm talking about, the little thought pockets running around with no respect for nothing, not even themselves. We talking about listen, don't underestimate the power of the thought pockets, bro. Don't underestimate them. They will pull up to the voting polls if they think that this will bring a world of anarchy and chaos, because I could tell you just like this, and I'm just being direct with y'all and being honest. It's a lot of these wicked ass women who want to see chaos. They love it. They dwell in it. They want to see the cities in peril. They want to be in the streets twerking on cop cars. I'm telling you, they want to be twerking on cop cars. They want to do it for the gram. You get it? So they're going to go up. They're going to march down and vote for Kamala because they know that's what's going to happen. They know that's what's going to happen. Matter of fact, Numbers 5:28. And if the woman be not defiled, but be clean, then shall be free and shall, that's the wrong scripture there. That don't have nothing to do with this. I thought that was another scripture. And also when you share scripture, when the Spirit compels you, share scripture that lines up with the topic. Right? So next, sniffing Joe Biden. Groping Sleepy Joe has decided to step down. Here we have it.
Out of re-election since Lyndon Baines Johnson in 1968. And it comes, unlike Johnson's move, which happened in January of that year, it comes after he has already gone through a primary process, after he has already effectively won the Democratic nomination, which now raises the huge questions, as you allude to, of what happens next.
And I want to show y'all how the targeting goes and how these strikes and this spiritual warfare goes, right? Look at this. My brother just sent me this right here. So for those who think in New Breed, you just connecting too many dots. I want y'all to check this. Peep this real quick. We were in Liberia. Hold on. When we were meeting up with dignitaries, right? There's a whole article right here. A whole article. And I know y'all just thinking great minds think alike, right? So that's how it's titled, right? Peep this. We in Liberia at the time. You see, we got the whole team there. Meeting up with dignitaries. Guess what? There's a whole article on this. Kamala pulls up. She pulls up. She don't even deal with foreign relations. She don't handle no business normally. But she pulled up. Right while we were down there, y'all. We in North Carolina a couple days ago. She pulls up with our event. They're calling it a crowd strike to shut everything down. Listen, they fear us coming together. They fear us unifying, being at peace, having something that they have no control over, which is our land. You know the other irony of it? When we went to Liberia, that was regarding land too. That was regarding land too. The land that was given to Marcus Garvey, to be exact. The matrix is getting glitched. And you can say what you want, Newbury, y'all. It's just coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. I don't. I don't believe in it at all. Even if it's spiritual, even if they're not sitting at the round table discussing what truthers are doing, right? It's spiritual. They don't know why they being compelled to be monitoring spirits, to be watching. So monitoring spirits are real, folks. No questions asked. Monitoring spirits are real, especially those who operate in the demonic, those who operate in sorcery, magic, and witchcraft, like these damn people here, like this damn bot, this reptilian you see on your screen, and those around him. And I'm going to go ahead and share this article in the chat if I could. But this is crazy. I'm just piecing this stuff together. It says the United Nation of Israel isn't the only nation interested in building on the continent of Africa. The Liberian Observer reported that VP Harris is excited about the future of Africa. During Harris's trip in Africa, she will spend time in Ghana, Tanzania, and Zambia, discussing hot topics such as climate change, economic development, food security, and future for the youth. But when she went down there, she was trying to get them to accept gay marriage. I can distinctly remember it because we met up with certain dignitaries in Liberia that wasn't having it. They were more interested in meeting us than meeting her. This is a fact. You know, and she didn't step in Liberia, but she went in the surrounding areas. But she was trying to get people to accept gay marriage. And you know what she would have did? You know what the American culture would have did? They would have paid them to develop certain things. Make it acceptable to be gay here. And we're going to pay to help you develop the land. That's what the conquerors do. And that's what they were there for, to turn Africa out. It just is what it is, man. Hold up. Let's go.
In his letter announcing this extraordinary decision, he mentions his vice president, Kamala Harris. He says, I want to thank my vice president, Kamala Harris, for being an extraordinary partner. But he makes no reference about what he will do in terms of an endorsement. Will he endorse? Will he not endorse? Will there be an open process? What happens next?
Well, since this news is aired, Joe Biden has definitely endorsed. And, you know, Kamala believes she will win. We don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to win. But I know for sure that, you know, whatever happens, we can expect prophecy to continue to be fulfilled. And I'm trying to understand why it seemed like that these are the only candidates to choose from. What happened to all the other parties? What happened to all the other presidential candidates? Why at the end of each election is only two people we even talk about when multiple people can run for president? Why does the media stand behind two choices? I don't get it. And this shows you the power of the box. It shows you. It's like whoever gets the most press, that's who's going to win. And so far, you know, it looks like Trump got a lot more press. But hey, we don't know how this thing is going to go. Like I said, them city girls might pull up and make it a reality. A lot of the times when these votes coming in, it's to actually test the people, to see who is buying into the system and who's not. John 16:33. These things I have spoken unto you, that ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation. But be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. See, in the world, you're going to have great tribulation. Where we were at, UP Farms, we had great peace. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull something up for y'all. Yo, sorry about that, y'all. Sorry about that. Hold on. I'm going to put up some footage. I'm going to pull up some footage from my event. And that's what I'm going to close out with. So I just want y'all to see this world from a different perspective, right? Because while the world was shutting down, God's chosen, we was elevating. We was elevating. So I want to show that.
But everything they offer seem to give us just more agape, moving like Soul Train. This that made it this far when there was no way. We finding favor in the Lord, so it's major where we going. Gotta stay faithful, adversaries waging war, but no weapon formed against ever prosper. You know it. When these devils show their horns, must avoid them like the plague. Bunch of stage playing hypocrites with nothing real to say. All they energy is spent on social media these days, but we really in the field. If you real, catch the wave, catch a vibe, catch a flame, so alive and unchained. It's time to celebrate life, cause we struggle every day. And people tend to hate, but we marching like the saints. We embracing all this change, just like pushing through the rain. Motivation when it's pain, so we late and they can't fade us. Blessed are the doers, elevate high, leave the rats in the sewers. Must learn to maneuver, shed light in the ruins. Your vibes shake the room up, cause we wise and we prudent. Soul therapy, these moments can be captivating. Vibe check, we on Soul Glow Activator. This that agape, moving like Soul Train. This that made it this far when there was no way. Soul therapy, these moments can be captivating. Vibe check, we on Soul Glow Activator. This that agape, moving like Soul Train. This that made it this far when there was no way.
I'm living my life for my God. I'm living my life for my God. I'm living my life for my God. I'm living, trying to live my life sin free. I said I'm living my life for my God. I'm living my life for my God. I'm living my life for my God. I'm living, trying to live my life sin free. Yeah, I'm trying to be the man to be a man with faith, not an NPC. Life ain't about clothes or chains, it's about being free from the mentality that the enemy wants you stuck in, sinful and suffering. Life without Christ is nothing, I couldn't function. Being a fake or phony, I can't be fronting. Living my life with the need of biblical instruction. That's why I heed the wisdom in the book. Studying the word of God, got the demons shook. I'm the light of the world, bright, how my future look. The God of Israel inspired my verses and my hooks. Christ is my head, his advice is what I took. I'm rejoicing in this word like go.
To say, Director, we're pretty close to the halfway.
So in closing, brothers and sisters, in closing, okay, I'm not even on camera. Look, I just want to say I love each and every one of y'all, everybody who showed up. It was a beautiful event. I know a lot of people had travel issues because of this global shutdown thing, but for the people who did show up, man, it was remarkable just touching bases with y'all, and it wasn't just internet, but I can see you live in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to be doing more of those. But, you know, we got to be real on point these days. For those who are watching on the outside, looking in, be involved in what we're doing, because we're moving according to the spirit of the Most High, and we're on the right path. We're not saying that we the know all be all or we're the solution to the problem, but we are a solution to the problems that we have. We need something that we can call our own. All right. Thank each and every one of y'all. I want y'all to have a blessed one. With that being said, shalom and peace.